Hello, I hope I am doing this scheduled live thing correctly, but I am excited to show you guys some tips on how to choose your foundation colors. So I'm going to get right into this and do a little bit of skin prep while our live viewers join. So for those of you on the replay, you don't have to wait for anything. So the first thing that I always tell people is to be sure that you're prepping your skin. I know I say this all the time, and you may be thinking, of course you're going to tell me to prep my skin because you probably want me to buy more products from you. And that's true. I do want you to buy more products from me, but your foundation, no matter what you use, is not going to look great unless you are properly prepping your skin. So I don't really care what you use, if you're using my products or if you're using somebody else's products, but prepping your skin is really key. So I am going to be using a foundation brush because I've already got my eye makeup on and I don't really want to mess it up. And Lord knows I can get some fat fingers going on here. So I'm going to, this is my Sotox. I'm going to apply that to the places. This is a serum. So a serum's going to like pack your skin with antioxidants, a little bit of moisture, help prevent fine lines and wrinkles. I've even seen Sotox work almost instantly on some people where it really, really helps. Now, it's wintertime, and what's going to help more than anything else is to exfoliate and then moisturize your skin. So that's the start of that. And then we're going to go into my One Drop Wonder Oil. I'm just going to apply that everywhere. Remember, One Drop Wonder is a booster serum. So it is a carrier oil. If you're familiar with any kinds of oils, especially if you're maybe in massage therapy or you're an esthetician, carrier oils help deliver awesome stuff deeper into the dermis of your skin. So that is why One Drop Wonder works so amazingly on everything. But you can see I've got this hydration going, and I'm going to let this set for a second while I start to talk about our foundation. So this is for you if you're thinking about buying LimeLight foundation, or if you're selling LimeLight foundation and you want to understand exactly what all the colors are and how they work, how you choose a color, how do you pick your concealer that goes with it. And while we're talking about it, I'm going to do some application techniques as well, so you can see really just all there is to working with these products. So it's also going to allow the skincare that I just put on my skin to get in there nice and deep. All right, so the first thing you want to know is that our foundation is wax and vegetable oil based. Don't go running away when you hear about vegetable oils. I promise you, it is not scary. These are all natural oils. They are non-comedogenic. That means they are not going to clog your pores. They're not going to cause breakouts. On the contrary, in fact, a lot of clients find that their skin improves dramatically after using LimeLight's Botanical Foundation. It's made by a company called RCMA that's been in the beauty industry for like 60 years. They know what they're doing. This makeup, you absolutely cannot go wrong with this makeup. It is exactly why celebrity makeup artists and professional makeup artists all over the world use this foundation. And that's not an exaggeration. It's not a joke. This is absolutely used all over the place because it works. It looks like skin. You can have it as sheared out or as heavy as you wish for it to be, and it's going to give you a flawless look every time. Mostly as long as you're prepping your skin. That's the biggest part. So when you get a LimeLight Botanical Foundation, when you order one, it's going to come in a little individual pan. I'm going to show you today a couple of 6-well palettes. Obviously I've got one that's needing replaced. And here's my other shades. We currently have 12 shades. We are getting 3 new shades. However, everything that I'm about to tell you about how to choose your color applies whether you're one of the new shades or you're one of these shades, and I'll kind of talk about that as I go. So first things first, we do have a color matching quiz that you can take to try to determine what your skin color is. Now, listen very carefully to this part, because it's really, really important if you want to accurately match your skin color and look flawless and look amazing. When you take that quiz. It's a good place to start from, but you have to answer the questions based off of how you actually look in reality. I find a lot of people, it's kind of like when I was a hairstylist, they'd bring me a picture of somebody that they wanted me to do their hair like that person, and they didn't really have that hair to begin with. So if you just have to be very honest with yourself and answer the questions very honestly. There's no wrong answers, and you will not be penalized if you answer correctly. In fact, you'll have a lot better results if you answer very, very honestly. So what the questions of that quiz are going to help determine is what your, oh, thank you, this is just my blow-dried hair. This is my quick look. The answers to that question, those questions are going to help determine what your skin's undertones are. There's a lot of different ways to determine that. And you may already know if you tend to have like pink undertones or if you tend to have more yellow undertones. People with more pink undertones tend to burn a little bit easily. They tend to be a little bit more fair for the most part. As people get darker, their skin is usually a warmer color. And people with yellow undertones are warmer. They tan very easily. This is where you're getting into people that are from different parts of the world, South America, things like that. You may find some of the warmer tones. Now, when you're looking for your undertones and when you're looking to see if you're pink or yellow based undertones, I want you to do me a favor and I want you to stop looking at your face. You're going to say, Kendra, but I want to match my face. Why are you telling me to stop looking at my face? It's because the skin on our face tends to be a lot more exposed and a lot more sensitive to environmental factors, to wind and rain, and we put all kinds of cosmetics on it, and we put we touch it all the time, and it tends to be red. We tend to break out. So as you can even see, I've got no foundation on now. I've got some redness through here, just a little bit. But what you want to look for when you're looking at your undertones is to look through here instead. And can you see on this video, I'm a very good example. My face is not the same color as my chest. See? I can't believe I just did that on a live video on my page with 1,800 people potentially watching this video. Good job, Kendra. All right, so what I want you to understand is that oftentimes we can be pink or yellow, pink through the face, but maybe not through here. So look through your chest and your neck when you're determining where your undertones are. So if I were to look at my face, I would say I had pink undertones, but I actually am more yellow undertoned based off of my neck and chest. Now, some people can't see undertones, and that's fine. That's what that quiz is there for. So as long as you're answering it very honestly, we can take a look at that and then take a look at a picture, and your beauty guide is going to be able to help you determine what your color actually is. And these tools have worked so well, we aren't wrong very often. So your face is much redder than your neck. Absolutely, that's very, very, very common, or pinker, or has more redness. So we're going to talk first about foundation and then about concealer. And one thing that I like to tell people, and this may be detrimental to my bank account, but you often don't need a separate concealer with LimeLight's foundation. I use a separate concealer. I am a big fan of concealer. I'm a big fan of all things makeup and wearing it good and thick, but not everybody is. And our foundation is so pigmented that oftentimes it's as pigmented as a lot of the concealers that you may be used to using. So you may not need a concealer all of the time. This is my cool palette. Well, for the most part, this one is not. One of the first things that people tell me all the time is, I'm going to be your lightest shade. No, that's not wrong that you only use concealer. Sometimes people only use concealer and only put it in certain places, or they use the concealer as foundation and they thin it out and use it lightly. There's no wrong. I promise you there's no wrong. In fact, I get really mad when people tell me I'm doing it wrong. Because there's no right way to do makeup, there's no wrong way to do it either. So you can't be doing it wrong. So people often tell me that they are, oh, I'm going to be your lightest shade. I'm going to promise you, I've not in person met a single person that's our lightest shade. But it's right here, and it's called Porcelain. But you'll notice I've got a lot of it gone. Maybe you can see that in here, maybe not. I've got a lot of it gone, and you're like, well, if you don't hardly use it, why do you have it? I use this to mix with other shades when I when somebody's between shades, and that is a good tip to know as well. But with our new colors coming out, you probably won't be between shades anymore. So this is our lightest shade, and I just want to show you how light it is. This is what porcelain looks like on the skin. It's very, very, very fair, and very, very fair. So we're not going to talk too much about that. Ivory is our second lightest shade, and occasionally I will wear ivory in the winter time, and you can see how light that is as well. So the good thing about that is that our foundation goes from very, very, very light to very, very, very dark, and that's a good thing, because we can fit everybody from the palest shades all the way to the darkest shades, and that's really nice, because a lot of people that are very fair or very rich in skin color can't find a color that fits their needs, and they end up just dealing with something that they hate, and that's no fair. So if you are pink undertoned, so we've got if you are more pink based undertones, if you tend to put foundation on and sometimes you notice your foundations look very orange or very yellow, that is probably a contrast on your pink undertones, and so you would fall into one of about 5 colors. We have Gina Beige, Olive 1, Olive 2, and Olive 4, and we are coming out with an Olive 3 in our new shades. So one thing I like to tell people, foundations, makeup, cosmetics in general are kind of like women's clothing lines. Like, you may be a size 6 in one brand, but you're not a size 6 in the other, and that's frustrating. And foundation and makeup is the same way, so buckle up. So I often will use the word olive, and people say, oh, no, 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 I'm not an olive. Olives are more yellow or green. Well, in some lines they are. In our line, they are pink undertoned. They're neutral to pink. We don't have any really, really pink or really, really yellow tones. We're neutral to pink, or we have neutral to yellow, which is really nice because you're not going to get that super pink look or that super orange or yellow look, even if you are off a shade or so. So, and here's a little tidbit of information. RCMA, the company that makes our foundation, is a family-owned business, and they have been in business for over 60 years. But that's the reason I'm telling you that is because Gina Beige, the name Gina, and it's spelled Gena, is the name of the founder's wife. That was her color. And RCMA Foundation has several shades that are named after people that are that color. I do believe there's a color called Tom Selleck in RCMA's repertoire, and it's very, very dark and orange. A little more on the orange side anyway. So Gina Beige is actually, so we've, like I told you before, we have Olive 1 through 4. Gina Beige would be considered Olive 0, so it's the lightest of the pink base tones. So if you are very, very fair, a lot of fair redheads fall under that Gina Beige color. I'll kind of show it to you on my skin. I am quite yellow based, but you can see it's what that color looks like on my skin right there. And it is, but that's Gina Beige, and then I'll show you Olive 4, so you can kind of see the range in our pink based tones. So, whoops, that's the wrong one. So these are, and you can see, not super pink. A lot of people that are tan wear an Olive 4. If they don't tan very warm, they tan a more cool color. And it really is going to depend if you spray tan. Sometimes the spray tans are going to go more to an olive color, and sometimes more to what we call a Shinto color, which is our yellow colors. So if you're more pink undertone, you're going to be either a Gina Beige, an Olive 1, Olive 2, or an Olive 4, or when our new colors come out, you're going to be a maybe an Olive 3. So olive colors are pink based, and that's what you need to know. The next set of colors I'm going to show you are our Shintos, and those are up here. And this is Shinto 1, which is nearly gone, Shinto, and this is a very popular color, Shinto 2 and Shinto 4. We are coming out with a Shinto 3, which would be right between these two colors, and a Shinto 0. And this is really, really, really good news for me, because I currently have to mix Shinto 1 with porcelain to get the color that that matches my skin tone the best. but in the summertime I'm a Shinto 1. So this is Shinto 1, and you can see this is a yellow based color. Maybe you can't see that, but I'm telling you that. And it's for very fair skin that is more yellow based, and it goes all the way to Shinto 4, which I'm going to show you here. And this is where you're going to get into some darker skin tones, some lighter African American skin tones, ethnic skin tones. And one thing to know when you're matching Caucasian versus ethnic skin tones, and this is really important if you've never done this before and you're talking to people that are opposite of what you are, is that when you match Caucasian skin tones, you match the color. You want it to kind of disappear, and you do the same thing with darker, richer, and more ethnic skin tones as well. However, you don't match it perfectly, because the darker the skin tone, the more ashy it can look if the color isn't matched properly, and therefore you want to go a little bit warmer. So in our darker tones, where we've got the yellow base, which is a warmer base, we've also got MB5, MB6, and MB8, and these have warm and red undertones to them, and that's going to help to prevent that ashy look that can happen when African American skin tones are not matched properly, and the color ends up looking very dull. So adding warmth helps bring warmth and light to the skin and helps it look more youthful and fresh and healthy. So that's just a little tip when you're working with darker skin tones, is that it's a little bit of a different match, but it's something that is very easily learned if you pay attention and take some notes. So that is our yellow based skin tone. So when you are choosing a foundation, my biggest advice to you is to first take that color matching quiz. Be super honest. Don't pick answers based on what you wish your skin looked like. Base answers on what your skin actually looks like, and that's going to go a lot further for you. And then we're going to talk a little bit about concealer. So we're just going to go right into that. Maybe why don't I show you first, before we go into concealer? I'm going to quick throw my foundation on, because I want to show you how concealer works. So like I said, I'm mixing two colors. When I mix two colors, I just stick them on the back of my hand, and I let the warmth of my skin kind of melt them together. And I'm going to throw this on super fast. And I'll get nice and close so you can hopefully see. And I'm going to use my fluffy brush technique. This is one that I love. It's really fast, and it makes for a nice light coverage. You can use your fingers, you can use, there's all kinds of ways. I've got lots of videos on how to apply foundation. Really, applying foundation is more about doing what works for you. Sometimes I like to sit forever and play with foundation and make it look perfect and things like that. And other times, I don't have time for all that. Other times, my kids are driving me crazy and can't find their shoes and won't get out the door and make me question everything I ever knew in life. You know, those times. But I like this application technique. Kind of gives it a flawless look. Get nice and close so you can see, but really fast. So I'm going to show you some concealer techniques, and I want you to know it is so cold in my basement. So cold, and my foundations have been down here all day. So they are, because it is wax and wax based, you can imagine a wax in the cold needs to warm up. So okay, here we've got the foundation coverage. Foundation's covered. Let's talk about concealer. We have 6 concealers. Let me show them to you here. I'm sorry, that's 7. I can't count. We have 7 concealers, and we used to only have 6. LimeLight, early when I was just starting with LimeLight, they came out with a 7th color, and that is number 0. So if you're wondering why our colors kind of skip around just a little bit, That's why that color came out after the rest of them, and it was meant as for a fair under eye color for people that are more fair, which is a lot of my customers, and this is number 0 right here. So 0 is very, very neutral. Here's a tip. If you are between colors and you need to be a little bit lighter for the wintertime, you can mix a little bit of concealer number 0 in with your foundation and bump it down a color and make it a little bit lighter. But this is what I like to apply under my eyes. If you've never used if you are a olive 1, or let's see, a ivory, Gina beige, olive 1, or a Shinto 1, this number 0 is great for under eyes if you like to brighten up just a little bit underneath your eyes and get a little bit more coverage under your eyes. You can see it works really awesome for that. Here's the thing with our concealers. They are very, very, very pigmented and quite thick and are meant to be used very sparingly. So that little tiny pan that you get is going to last you a very, very long time. And when you use like your finger, I just dip it in there just a little bit, just a titch, and go over that, and then we'll set it with powder here in a minute. So if you are a olive 2, a Shinto, or if you are looking to go, thank you, if you're looking for an under eye concealer and you're a little bit darker, an olive 2, a Shinto 2, or a little bit more, we've got a couple of other options for you, and I want to tell you what the differences are. So our first one is concealer number 2, not number 1. Notice I went from 0 to 2, and I'm going to explain that in a second. So concealer number 2, and I'm going to put this on the back of my hand so you can see it, and we've got number 3. They look very, very similar in the pan. However, concealer number 2 is much more yellow, and concealer number 3 is more pink, and hopefully you can see that. Here's number 2 and here's number 3. So if you are a Shinto 2, number 2, if you're Shinto 2 or 4 and you're looking for a lighter color to go under your eyes, concealer number 2 is going to be very helpful for you. Or if you are olive 2 or 4, 2, 3, or 4, and you're looking for a lighter color to go under your eyes, you're going to want to go with number 3. These two colors are great also if you're looking to conceal blemishes or imperfections, age spots, things like that. Let me go ahead and find a nice little age spot here, and because I am so fair, I'm going to use 0, and I'm just going to tap, and then we're going to blur the edges. I need to see my mirror. I never cover these, but I do know they're there in case I need to. But you can get really nice coverage with just light taps. So you want to find, if you're looking for something to cover minor blemishes or an age spot, you want a color that's going to be as closely matched to your skin tone as possible. So again, we have 0, 2, and 3. So if you are one of the fairer colors, Gina beige, ivory, or maybe even Gina beige or ivory, you're probably going to want to go with 0. Or if you're a Shinto 0, when our new color comes out, you'll want to go with 0. If you are olive 1 or 2, you're going to want to go with olive 1 or 2. You're going to want to go with number 3. And if you're Shinto 1 or 2, you're going to want to go with number 2. So, and if you're getting into darker colors, we've got concealer number 4. Now let me tell you a little tip about concealer number 4. Concealer number 4 has some orange undertone to it. It's a little warmer based, and if you've ever seen people that have very, very dark under their eyes, the blue dark circles under their eyes, orange counteracts blue. So you could put that number 4 on your under eyes and then put your foundation over top of it. So let's talk about that for a second. There's a difference between using a concealer the way that I did for under my eyes and to cover up minor blemishes that kind of match my skin or are slightly lighter than my skin tone. Then you've got ways that you may want to use a concealer to color correct, to correct something that is really, really off. So this is what I'm talking about, big rosacea, lots and lots of rosacea, really, really, really red, a lot of redness, major blemishes, or blue under eyes. Really, really dark. So I'm not talking about minor things that, like I said earlier, our foundation can cover a lot of those minor blemishes, everyday blemishes. And I'm not going to say sorry, but I don't have any to show you how to cover that. But our foundation can cover a lot of that very easily without the addition of an additional concealer. However, if you do have the purple or blue undertones here, or if you've got a lot of redness, you may want to use a concealer to color correct. In that case, if you're color correcting, you may need our number 1, which is very green yellow based, or you may use number 4, or you may use 2 or 3 here, and I'll explain that in a second. Oh, and I didn't mention concealer 5 and 6. So number 5 is going to be a match for our Shinto 4 or our MB5, and number 6 is going to be a nice match for covering blemishes for MB6 and MB8 and our darker skin tones. And I'm sorry, I know this is a lot of information I'm throwing at you guys at one time, but it'll help you really understand how to choose a color and why you pick different colors and why you may pick different concealers. So if you are looking to color correct, you've got a lot of redness, or you've got a lot of acne, really irritated acne, and if that's you, I'm very sorry, and I know you're looking for something to help you. So this is where, when it's very red, you want to use concealer number, hey Jessica, number 1. This is very yellow-green. Now, if you know anything about color correcting, you would want to know about, let's see if you can even see this. It's kind of hard to see, but it's very green, yellow. We use the color wheel to color correct, and color theory is kind of long and complicated, but how I like to, thank you Holly, how I like to remember color theory is by using football, and this has helped me to quickly understand how different colors can counteract other colors, and how color correction can be done on the face to fix a problem or fix something that you don't like. So why football, Kendra? Get to the point. Holy crap, we're all dying here, right? Why football? So because the the Bears play the Vikings at Christmas. That's why. What? You said, what? That doesn't make any sense. But yes, it does, and here's why. So when you are looking to correct something, you're probably looking to correct the colors of green or red, or you're looking to correct blue, or you're looking to correct purple. And purple under eyes, blue under eyes, redness on the skin. And and to correct those, you use the opposite color of the color wheel. And the Bears are blue and orange colors. Blue and orange are the Bears colors. And blue and orange counteract each other. Opposite of the color wheel. Yes, the color wheel. That's why you use what you use. Yes. So blue and orange. The Bears colors are blue and orange. Blue and orange counteract each other. If you mix equal parts blue and orange together, you will get a neutral color. So you get, it cancels out the blue and it cancels out the orange. Now we go to the Vikings, because the Bears play the Vikings. Vikings are purple and yellow. If you mix purple and yellow together, you get a neutral color, and it cancels out the purple or the yellow, whichever you use to go over top of it. So you get a neutral color. And Christmas, green and what reminds you of Christmas? Red and green. So red and green counteract each other. So if you have a lot of redness, you want to use a concealer that has a little bit of green to it. The wonderful thing about our concealers are they are not super green. Have you seen the concealers out there that are like literally a Christmas tree? And people walk around putting that on their face and they don't know what they're doing, and you can tell that they've got green concealer on somewhere, and you're like, oh, don't do that. Okay, so that's what the nice thing about our concealers are. They are based in a color that's going to help you to responsibly color correct without looking like the Grinch, because nobody wants to look like the Grinch. So this one, if you've got severe redness, is going to help you. If you're, back in high school, if your redness is minor, but you still want to make sure it's not coming through on your through your foundation, then go with concealer number 2, because that one is a little yellow based, but It's going to help with the redness, but it's not going to like pack as much of a punch as number 1. Then if you have purple or blue under eyes to conceal, this is where you want to get into a orange based or something along those lines. So it just depends on how blue we're talking. Like, have you not slept in years? A lot of times the blue under eye circles are very genetic, and that is a big giant problem. But number 4, even though it's very dark, if you put that on under your foundation, and same with this one, these would go under your foundation. So let me just show you. So you would put this under your foundation like this, very lightly cover up your blue under eye circles. And what I like to do is then very lightly take the Perfect Pressed powder, that white powder, set it very lightly, and then put the foundation over it. Same with redness. If you've got severe redness, rosacea, or if you've got acne that's really, really, really red, you're going to want to take the green-based concealer, and then you're going to place that over your blemish. Tap, 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 tap. Tapping is always the best way to do it. And then set it with a little bit of powder, because that's going to really help put it in place, and then you can layer your foundation over it. Less is more, light is better, but that's going to help to counteract some of that. Now, if the 4 is too orange for your under eye circles, or your under eye circles aren't really, really blue or purple, then you're going to want to go to the number 3, which is a little more pink based. So that's how you use our concealers to color correct. Like I said, the best thing about them is they're not too orange, too red, too green, too blue, they're not too much. And if you've ever tried to use a colored concealer, you already know it can be a giant issue. You're going to need number 4, Alyssa. I'm going to need some leggings, so me and you are going to talk. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is we have a palette that a lot of people like to buy that's the foundation and 2 concealers, and they may not need 2 concealers. As you can see, I used Concealer 0 for under my eyes and to cover that little age spot that I had there. What would I possibly use for a second concealer? People also use that number 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 to use as a highlight under the eyes when you like to cream, highlight, and contour. I think that's a lot of work, but some people like to do that. So if you like to use a contour and you like to cream contour, and maybe you're going to use your blending bud and you're going to like stick your foot up in your face and go to town, and you're going to look like a perfect porcelain doll on that night, on that day, or maybe you do it every day, you may want a cream contour color as well. So we've got 2 dark colors here, and I'm going to just tell you right now, I think for the most part concealer number 5 is too warm for almost anybody to use as a contour color. It's very warm. It just doesn't work. It reads orange when on fair skin tones, so some people will try 4 as well. So I'm going to just show you what that looks like. Some people say, oh, use a darker color like one of these for a contour and a lighter for a highlight, but let me just show you. This is number 4, and like I already told you, it's very orange based, so it's going to look orange. This is not going to make for a pretty contour. And number 5 is even worse. This is not, that's going to send you away looking like an Oompa Loompa. Nobody wants that. That's not what I'm trying to do. But if you want to cream contour, if you want 2 concealers so you can do a cream contour, I would say every single skin tone, every person is going to probably be able to do it with concealer number 6. And let me show you how. So concealer number 6 is very neutral and dark. And how much you use is really just going to depend on how light and fair you are. So I'm very fair, so I would use very little. Or I would mix a tiny little bit with my foundation. These are based very similarly in that you can mix them together. So you could bump your foundation down a couple of colors by using this very neutral dark color, or you could bump your foundation up a couple of colors using this very neutral light color, 0 and 6. Does that make sense? But if you want to like get up all up in this business and do some serious contouring, you can take number 6, and I'm not going to teach you how to contour right now. That's for a different video, but I will show you. You can very lightly, I'm not going to do my whole face, just this half, because my husband loves it when I run around with half of my face done one way and half the other. Doesn't yours? And you can use this as a contour. Now, I don't think it's completely necessary to cream contour your face, and I don't think that it's a great everyday look for everybody, and I think it's a lot of work. But if that's how you want to roll, that's how you roll, and you can do that just like that. So you can see I'm incredibly fair. Shinto 1 mixed with porcelain is what I use, and my light's getting bright because it's getting dark. Let me dim it down a little bit for you so you can see a little better. There you go. Now you can see probably that a lot better. And that is how you could use those two colors to, I don't know what's happening now. The lighting's getting weird. There we go. To contour your face. So the last thing I want to tell you, and I know this is kind of a lot of education, so please forgive me if you're like, wow, that's a lot to know. I just wanted to pick a foundation color. My apologies. When you use LimeLight's Botanical Foundation, you really, really, truly do need to use our Perfect Pressed Powder. And this is why. As you can tell right now, this foundation looks very shiny. And it looks very shiny because it's not set. I use Concealer 1 with Shinto 1 and Ivory for my match. Yeah, sometimes you got to get creative. Depends on how fussy you are on your match. But some of us just, not very many people, I would say the majority of people fall within one of our shades. But every now and again, you get somebody that's difficult. Right, Holly? And that's what happens. So our Perfect Pressed Powder is white. This is a setting powder. A setting powder is very, very different than a makeup powder or a powder makeup or a powder foundation. They are very different, not even close to the same thing. Not sure what's going on with this lighting, but it's being very weird, probably because I have black on my shirt. But anyway, when you use the powder to set the foundation, you can see that that shininess instantly goes away. And it leaves your skin looking with a very flawless finish. Unless you cake it on, you're not going to have that powdery, cakey finish that you can often get from powder. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure what's happening with the lighting, so hopefully you can see this fine. But anyway, you're not going to get that overly powdered look. Sometimes it's hard for people to understand what the difference in our foundation is, and what I tell people, I'm like, this is professional grade products. These are pro products that pros are using, and this is a whole different kind of system. And at the end, yeah, I'll tell you what's on my eyes at the end. This is kind of one of my favorite new eye looks that I've been doing. But once you set that foundation, now here's something else to know. It's kind of important. Is say you set your foundation and you want it to be heavier in one spot, or you need to add concealer, or who knows, something crazy is going on and you need to do something different. You can layer this. You can layer this foundation all day long and nothing bad will happen. It's meant to be layered. In fact, you could do a whole nother look over top of this foundation if you wanted to. Remember when I said I was going to rock one side of my face one way and one side the other way? I lied. But this is concealer number 6 that I just put on this brush, and I just put it on very, very lightly. As you can see, I can get that same contour look without having to do anything too terribly crazy. Pretty cool, huh? This is the double chin hider. Okay, so that is, I think that's everything I know about about foundation. Does anybody have any questions? Can't look at my own lips any longer. No questions. Okay. I mean, if you do, pop on, I'll ask. So I'll tell you what's on my eyes. This is what I've been obsessed with on my eyes for a minute, and I love it, and I can't stop wearing it. but it's a combination of onyx, and dazzle. So what I have is in the crease, I've got this kind of taupey color here. I think I also used some number 40, some taupe for the best in there, and that. And then I layered into the crease. What is the best prep to your skin with? So the best prep for your skin, I will answer this, is you need to exfoliate regularly. If you're not exfoliating, exfoliate. If you don't have a LimeLight exfoliator, use some sugar for all I care. Exfoliate, get that dead skin off of there. But use my stuff. I mean, use my stuff, it's better. But and then moisturizer, it's going to depend on your skin, but what I typically use is So Toxin One Drop Wonder. I might add some Must Do in the wintertime. In the summertime, always So Toxin One Drop Wonder, and then I use Calm Balm or Skin Therapist. So it really depends. But at nighttime, I put everything on my skin. I put all of it. All of it. All the moisture in your skin. That's when your skin repairs itself when you're sleeping. That's why it's important to take your makeup off at night. I don't care if you take your eye makeup off or not. I mean, it's not good to leave it on, but take your skin makeup off and get some hydration in your skin. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Get the dead skin off. It's really important. It makes a huge difference in the way your makeup looks. And if your skin is looking at all dull or ashy or anything like that, it's because you've got dead skin. You need to get rid of it. It's time. Do it. Okay, so I used, back to the eyeshadow, they wanted to know what I used. So I used this color in the crease, this color on the lid, and then I used this color layered in there, and then some of the black and gray. So it's mostly this and pink. I'll probably do a tutorial on it tomorrow because I've worn my eyes like this a couple of times and I keep getting a lot of great compliments on it. So I think it's time to show people how I did that. Pretty cool, huh? All right. If you have, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So I hope you learned something. I'm sorry this was so long, but I wanted to kind of teach you just about everything that I know about color correcting and concealer and why different concealers work for different things and why your foundation color, why you might be different foundation colors. So thank you very much for watching. Makes a big difference to exfoliate. Huge, huge, huge difference. Your skin will even look cleaner. It's weird, but it's beautiful. So you're welcome. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh yeah, replay the beginning. You'll get some good info. No, I'm not using the Reiki. I've got my I've got a makeup light, the makeup light, and so I'm using that. And I had it all set up and kind of calibrated, but then the sun went down, and Alyssa, you do need to get on that exfoliation train. In the winter, it's really, really important. Our skin is just dry, and then the dry skin builds up, and it's bad juju. Bad. It's just bad. Okay, guys, have a fantastic evening. Thanks for watching. I'll probably be back tomorrow with some other amazing tips. Have a good night.